Our ancestors made sense of reality by telling each other stories of their gods.
This is our attempt to bring those tales back to life.
I am Zeus. I rule the skies and stars. I am the king of the gods, and by being so, I am monarch of the universe. Yet, of late, I have near lost my people, my subjects, and the moment this becomes true, I will lose my throne, and then, least important to me by far, I will lose my life. But this is just the beginning, for whomever takes my throne will then be king. There is only one I would trust with this task should I fail in it, and he would never take that cup from me. So, I would be permitting a new tyranny to begin, for we immortals, we are not just, not as a rule. My own history proves this. I had to slay Kronos, my own father, at the instigation of his wife Rhea, and of his own mother, Gaia. Thus, I must break the cycle. I must think. I must think. I take to the skies in the form of an eagle. The bright morn greets me as I soar above the clouds. I feel the winds in my feathers, the sun on my face. I absorb its warmth. I see the world beneath me, my home, the palace of the gods. Then, the vista of perfect white clouds circling the mountain like a diadem. The world beyond is green and lush. Towering ranges scatter across these lands. The only true plain where we gods had flattened the mountainsides with the fury of our battles. Now they are healing. Some clouds still rise from areas burnt by humanity, with the gift of fire from Prometheus. Yet they are small trails now, something I will have to get to in time. The human's chastisement. I glide upwards until I am at the very tip of the towering colossus of rock and stone. My home, Olympus. I light on the speckled flecked white of snows, and I transform to my true form once more. I look down on all of my realm. The lands around, the seas beyond that. They are ruled by my brother Poseidon. He is right, of course. I can never state this for fear of antagonizing Hades, worse yet, of disappointing him. But I did indeed control the lots. Poseidon is my brother, but he is far more like to our father than we other two. He could not be permitted to take the most important throne, that of Olympus and the lordship of the skies. So yes, I did it. I made sure he would gain the seas, in the lots, but they will never work out how this was done. Poseidon will rage, but never prove. Hades will always trust in me. And I will make it my business to never ever refuse Hades anything. I could not have done it without them both, of course. Yet it is not about gratitude alone. My actions were for the greater universe, and I must make sure that I continue in this vein. Never for me, always for the realms. Always. I summon a throne out of the rock face, and I sit. And I measure my place, my subjects, my family. I must build my lordship on a platform unassailable. I must forge a new order that will be strong, that will last. For I am all that stands between the manifold urges and egos of the immortals, of the gods, and the gentle, defenseless world over which we rule. I cannot allow myself to weaken, to be overthrown. I must stand as a bulwark against the tempestuous nature of our kind. I must be the gate against which all would-be tyrants break. I must be wise. I am king of the universe, but not by birth, not really by right, but by might. And the throne claimed by force forever will need to be defended with it. Unless one can change the tempo, reset the scales. Unless one has the wit to see, the will to dominate, the power to be unchallengeable. And I have near been dethroned by my recent actions. I wed Metis at the urge of my mother and hers, Rhea the Titaness, Gaia the primordial, Mother Earth. But from Metis would have been birthed the very being who would have unseated me. So it was prophesied by my grandmother Gaia and my grandfather Uranus, thrown in my face by Kronos, the curse of our line, to ever be supplanted by our progeny. Hence, to my shame, I consumed Metis and her babe, so as to avert this calamity. And the child that sprung from me was Athena. She can never challenge my rule. I have averted fate, this time. Yet, in so doing, I have garnered no small mistrust and enmity from my subjects. And yet it must be I who is the ultimate arbiter of the universe, for I was trained to be ruler. I was made to be a king. Any other who takes this seat will find it uncomfortable in the extreme. It will consume them until they lash out at all around. To be a king is a terrible thing, I can assure you. But again, I was born for this, raised for this, trained for this. Well, trained to take this unpleasant role. Perhaps not to hold it. Gaia, she did not teach me that. An error or accident? Did she lack faith that I could actually be victorious, so why set down the foundations of good governance? Or was it planned? A built-in weakness, generating a requirement to defer to others, to her. This cannot be. If this was her goal, she has been blinded by her cleverness, overestimated her influence and underestimated that which burns in the hearts of men, all men. The need for self-determination, the hunger for power. It can be a positive thing if it is harnessed correctly. Yet it can be the cause of horror and tyranny if let off the leash. Gaia now plays a dangerous game. She was the one who birthed the first man, yet she cannot know their hearts, and no man can fathom the storms that rage in the hearts of women. But thus can no woman know the heart of man, not truly. Yet, in this regard, I am uniquely blessed now, for I am not merely just Zeus. I am Zeus Mediator. We shall work on this conundrum together. She shall show me the hearts of women. I shall know those of men. We shall set up our template of rulership. I must use my greatest mistake as a gift to create a world that will not only survive, but thrive. My cognition, my new-found wisdom. We immortals, we deities are a tempestuous bunch. As our sinew and souls are more potent than any mortals, so too are our passions. Forces of nature are we, uncheckable unless by one of our own kind, and with pride to match our power. Prickly and selfish, All gods and goddesses are a moment from wrath, but just as swiftly able to shift to clear skies and laughter. I must learn how to move my people, how to rule them, and I decide on this now. Where others feel, I must think. For I am the rock on which reality is now built. I must be ready, must be steady, must be prepared to weather any storm. My sires, Uranus, Kronos, both exposed themselves. They could not rule, for they had not the wit to see. They assumed the power was all that was required. They saw the one truth and thought it the entirety of the matter. For a king must be feared, or he will be supplanted. This was their error. They ruled through fear alone, and by doing so, they merely revealed their own fear. The fear of being supplanted unmanned them and opened the door to rebellion. For that which a king fears coming true, it must be possible. Hence, Kronos himself gave me power, simply and obviously via his fear. I cannot let this happen. I must gain stability for my realm. I must master myself and then the entire court. But how? I must be loved by enough to maintain control and authority. I must be feared by those who would glimpse my throne with covetous eyes. They must defeat themselves before ever I need to take action. I must be everything that they are not. I must exude power, emanate authority. I must not just look the part, play my part. I must be a monarch born, a king beyond compare, unassailable. The answer is simple. I must be Zeus. I must be like no other before me, like none other who would attempt to supersede me. I must rule their hearts, not just their loyalties. I must outshine all in ways that they understand. In their hearts, not in their minds. If I tried to rule with martial might alone, I inevitably signed my own death warrant. For I would need to defend this reputation forevermore. Should one of my court practice with me, as surely I would need to do to retain my edge, then if they ever beat me, so much as scratched my skin with their blade or boot, then I would need to destroy them. To forestall rebellion, to maintain the mystique, to never permit that god or goddess to be the center of any potential uprising. I would need extinguish them with gross prejudice. Yet, if I were to do this, I would reveal my fear of being supplanted. I would make the same invitation my sire and his did, and this cannot stand. To be seen as unjust is the worst failing of all. To be a tyrant is to challenge every single person beneath you to take your prize. This is hatred. I must be feared, but I must also make sure I do not tip the scales into being hated. For if you take enough from the most timid of men or women, eventually they will breed a hate so powerful that it will make lions out of dormice. My only blatant rivals of worth are, at present, my brothers, Hades, Poseidon, perhaps one other. But I shall consider her when I have solved the conundrum with the others. But more will come. The youths may outstrip me in power one day. Challengers will arrive, no matter what I do. So best to be prepared. To have them defeat themselves before they even set out, as I am so oft to say. I must forge a reputation so formidable that none will ever believe I can be toppled. Of course, this will be a lie. I did not slay my father alone. It took many of us to achieve this deed. Could I face off against my brothers both? Even so, even if I could, what if more were involved? Can I take down a pack of wolves like some bear? Strike one down hard enough to terrorize the others into submission? But if I do that, I lose. They will all see Kronos and Uranus in me. I must be clever, for no man can fight against all of reality and win. And if he could, there would be nothing left to rule when he was done. So I dig deep. I must be a lion. I must pup regularly, frequently and prolifically. And each shall be with the goddess I need to have on my side for all time. I will litter the court with mine own. Why? Simple. A lion who takes command of the pride, by defeating the old, will destroy all the pups of his predecessor. Thus, if I breed, I lead. For all of the mothers of these children, they will have no choice but to inform me of plots, to stand with me against the new cat, for otherwise their progeny will be slaughtered. I must be the lion. My potence shall not be shown in my martial power. I shall leave that as my last threat, a thing that will be more entrenched as the time goes on. My exploits are already legendary. I will harbour the respect they have garnered. I will not waste this in tantrums or repeated displays. Let the young fear what they do not know, have not seen. Let the older rival be unsettled in my presence, my exploits magnified in their minds by the time spent between examples. It is better to prevent a war than to win one. And I shall seduce all that I need to hold to me. With Metis in my mind, in my soul, I know how the goddesses may best be wooed. With her guiding my tongue, it shall glisten and drip sweet nothings into the ears of my conquests. And through my coupling will I beget a whole generation of gods, all the while forcing their mothers to cleave unto me. Even when I do not know I am in danger, have given no stricture or command, they shall act on my behalf, calming the hearts and heads of any who would stand against me. For if they do not, any who would replace me may well clean house of my progeny. Hence, the mothers will protect me to safeguard their children. And my success in these endeavours will cow the unruly in the menfolk. They will ask themselves why so many of the goddesses have chosen me, permitted me to be with them, and they will never see it, never be able to put a finger on the wellspring of my success. And thus, they will fear the unknown properties within me that command respect and even adoration and lust from the goddesses that are so important to them. Also, let us be honest. There is no man who does not fear his lover being taken from him by a stronger lion. I shall hold this over them also. My revenge of any misdeed need not be bloody, for it to be total. Yet all of this is my previous consort working with me, guiding me, helping me see. For as I stated, I must be Zeus. I must be true to myself. All through my brief and directed youth, I was taught so many things so swiftly. But the lessons were not lacking in depth despite being so brief, for I learned so quickly. Did she believe I ignored anything outside of war? I did not. I watched my grandmother, not in her manifestation, but in her grace. I learned to love the dandelion, the grasses, the trees and flowers, the roses most of all. How they bloomed, how they grew, their sweet scents, their glowing colours of green and orange, yellow and blue. I would watch the skies, the clouds of pure white, the thunderheads of dark fury arriving. I saw the mountains and the dales, the valleys and the cliffs. I respected the powers of the waters, the domain of Oceanus. I was called to by the skies, the realm I would one day command. But it was always grandmother I loved most. The abundance, the fecundity, the placid wholeness of her realm, her being. I learned to love the form of woman, as well as pride in my own sinew. I learned of mercy at her feet, learned of love and laughter and humility. She guided me in so many ways, but in this one way, she cannot. For despite being our creator, she is no man. I will be the avuncular lord to the menfolk, their lord in all ways. I will love women. I cannot help myself. I will be with them, for my passions are no less than my kin. I am a god, and my passions run hot. Better to release them in sweet nothings cooed into the ears of lovers, better to tussle amidst the hay with a filly to ease my struggling soul. For otherwise, my appetites will turn inwards, my passions will be tainted and run to darkness. Better to love and regret than to hate and burn and kill and dominate, all with a power I can scarce control. For I am king of the gods. I am the mightiest of all. Should I deny my nature? Should I twist myself to duty alone? I will die inside. I am terrified of Hera. Terrified. She will hold my heart and my soul in the palm of her hand, but I can never let her know of her power over me. I must always be separate. I can have her as my consort, but I can never call her my equal, not in public, never to her. For in my heart, I owe all to Hera, my life, my victory, our world, a world without tyranny. She knows this deep down. She has waited for me. Calmly she watches me run through her aunts and sisters. Yet there is bliss in each coupling, respect and love. But she knows I will end with her. She will be my last wife. Ah, poor Hera. She knows deep down that I am an alley cat, a lion. She may dream that she can cage me, tame me. But if I ever let this happen, if I ever allow her to cut my mane, to draw my claws, I will be ended, my rule ended, our tranquility ended. So this I can never ever allow. It will hurt me as much as her when I break our covenants, but break them I will, for none can challenge me. The universe will not survive another war of this magnitude. Gaia may not survive another such war. So my mind is set, my course rolled out before me. I thank you, my first wife, my first mistake, the first mother of my first child. Although I can never miss you, as we are now one, I can mourn the man who did that to you. I was so wrong, my darling. I did not love you, but still I named thee thus, and you were the mistake I will never make again. I mourn your vision, your beauty, your freedom, my Metis, mother of my Athena. I am so sorry. But your sacrifice is also mine, for gone is the boy who played at war. Gone is the boy who would have crushed his brothers to prevent rebellion. Gone is the last chance at tyranny. My tyranny. It is only Metis that shackles me with her wisdom and knowledge. I will do her honor by being the ruler the universe needs. I shall never be perfect. None of we immortals can be thus. But I will be no tyrant. I will protect this world and every one of my subjects. All will follow me, obey me, protect me. For otherwise their children's lives are forfeit. This is the way. I shall be a lord of love. I shall not be a tyrant. This is how I shall rule. But the cat must have his claws. How I hated doing that to Prometheus. To be so vile to him, when he was right and I was wrong. The humans. They did indeed require fire. No gifts were left. But I am the lion. I am the king. No matter the right or wrong of the matter, he defied me. And despite my hatred to treat him so, by making an example of this god, I stem 100 rebellions. An odious task, but one I did in the name of stability. None can defy me and go unpunished. None. And so, the years drip by. I conquer Themis first. From her I beget the Horae, the seasons. Eunomia, who is good order. Dike, who is justice. Irene, who is peace. Next, I couple with Eurynome, and we birth the Charites together. Gallia, Euphrosyne, Thalia. With Demeter I give life to Persephone. With Mnemosyne I spawn the Mosae. Clio, Euterpe, Thalia, Terpsichore, Erato, Calliope. Polyphemia, Urania, and Melpomene. They are the muses. I woo Leto next. From her I have my two golden children, the twins, Apollo and Artemis. Then, finally, unavoidably, inexorably, to Hera. I shall marry her, and it shall last. But I needed to lay my royal oats first, to act as lion and pup my pride to bursting. For now, each of these titanesses and Olympian matriarchs will cleave unto me. I would have it that I forced none, and in my own way, I love them all. And of course, the offspring from our coupling are always a constant annoyance, but also a constant joy. Yet, I am Zeus Mediator. I managed to leave each in such a way as they were not snubbed, for any lovers can leave one another as long as there is respect. And with each one I wooed, I did my duty by them, not only in bed, but at court, and each is held in higher regard than ever before, for they have been queens of the heavens, and secretly, I hope, or wish they could be again. In this way, I shore up support from the goddesses, but I also sow the seeds of resentment, not at me, but at each other. For all now know that they can be put aside, and this will protect me from my burning desire for Hera. The knowledge that she is queen, but this can change if she tests me. This I will hold over her head, remind her of regularly, so that she does not make a laughing stock of me, so that she does not rebel against me, or try to supplant me. And each of the new goddesses will eye her chair, her position, and all who have been wed to me will remember our coupling with bliss. They would leap at the chance to return to it. Hence, Hera cannot risk an attempt to control me. Ever. And In so doing, I cow the men of court. I populate those forces that they are still crying out for tending, for leadership, for the patronage of a god or goddess. At present, I have only two real rivals, two obvious ones. One is my tempestuous brother Poseidon, but I do not fear him. In all his bluster, all his power, he forgets that it is I who trained him in the arts of war. And, cunningly, I did not tell him everything. Should he attempt to come at me, he will do so in his predictably aggressive way. I shall simply slay him where he stands. He could attack Olympus, could even level it with his mighty trident. But that would be the end of the matter. I could step into the skies and come down on him like, well, the obvious, and end him. My brother Hades is not cut from the same cloth. He would not be blatant, would not be stupid. Yet he is not the other rival I presently consider. For Hades is wise, controlled, and, most of all, he is grateful. He knows what I did for him, knows he would still languish in the cold and dark within that horror Kronos, if I had not gotten him out. Thus, the only real threat to me is not a threat at all. Alas, my greatest fear is that my tutor cannot know their place. When a teacher cannot see their task is performed, their fee paid, their goal achieved, they can become a problem. Alas, this one is a primordial. That generation move as though they have all the time in the world. There is no imminence in their activities, no urgency in their preparations. But I know she is slowly moving. The most potent threat to my rule, perhaps the only being who could dethrone me, is gathering their forces, gathering their strength. It will be soon. By their reckoning at least. Grandmother, Gaia, do not make me do this. You do not know what I am capable of. None of them do. I know her Gigantes are gathering. It will be soon. It will be soon. Living Mythology is our attempt to bring the stories of our ancestors back to life.
They explained their universe through the medium of their religions.
Their gods were not distant beings of academic study. They were living, breathing entities
that reflected the wants, needs, good and evil in the very heart of humanity.
We only wish to encourage others to study the deep and rich cultures of our forebears.
We hope you have enjoyed our labours. If so, then do consider liking and subscribing.
If you wish to support improvement in our endeavour, then we do have a Patreon as well.
Until next time, be good to all, but most especially yourself.